Okay, guys. So, so today in today's session, we are going to see two more data types. Those are list and tuples. And in the next class, we are going to see dictionary and the sets. So these four data type is very important in Python. There are a lot of things happen around these four data types. Okay, so we'll quickly go one by one. And I already have prepared that Jupyter notebook for you to go into the details, and quickly we'll go to like touch up like what these data types and how we can utilize these data type when we are learning Python. So let's start with the list. So as list, as the name evident, right? Like it's the simple definition, it's a list. Okay, it's a collection of different data types. So list in simple terms, list is a collection of other data types. It can be integer, it can be float, it can be string, even though it can be a list of list. So how usually we define list in Python? So let's quickly go to see. So let's say suppose there is a variable a, the square brackets. So this is the easiest way to define a string. And we, if you simply put like square brackets, it's an empty string. We call it a empty string. Okay. The another way is to like suppose by using a list function. Okay. This, so these are the two ways you can quickly define a list. And if I'm going to simply print, so you can see it's, if I'm going to check what is the type of this variable is list. Okay. There are this is obviously the empty string, it doesn't contain anything. Okay, but suppose if you have to contain something, so let's quickly check. Suppose if I start with week, I wanted to create a data type which is like a collection of all the days. So and obviously I wanted to use suppose a string. Okay, and obviously if anywhere wherever you are using a string, either use single quote or double quote. And remember, like if you are going to use both together, keep that in mind, like one will take the priority. So suppose it is, suppose if I have to write suppose something like I am, so obviously in that case I have to enclose this in a double quotes to make it a one string. So keep that in mind. Else you can use any string that any comma, it doesn't matter as such. Okay, so this is like a quick list of a week. And suppose the another, you can create a list of uh, uh,
Take a look
integer.
at Nginx 2.
Sorry, you can create a list of numbers as well. So again, it will go by that only. 6 7, suppose 2.0, and and all the elements, all the items, so we call it sometime element, sometime we call it the item, will be separated by comma. Okay, so it will be like suppose 3.5, 99, suppose 3.14. Okay, so you can like include this, and you can include this as well. So it's a combination. So you can include one data type, another data type, a combination of data types. It work with everything. And the good thing about, you can create a list of lists. So and that is something like this. Suppose this is a, if you see, I have used square brackets inside this list. Okay. Okay. So all these lists, so if you see the very first list, this is the, simply call it the list of a string, because all the elements are a string. The second list, if you see, it is a list of numbers. It's an integer number as well as the floating numbers. Floating number means which have the decimal numbers. Random words, again, it's a combination of string, integer, float, uh, uh, or the decimal number. The nested list, as says, it have few elements as string, few elements as integer, and few elements. So if you see this particular section, this is a string. This is a sorry. This is a list. So a list within a list, and that is why list is a very important data type. Because think this way: if I ask you, uh, a very simple example I'm going to give you. Suppose as a class teacher, you have to create a report card for a student. Okay. And there are obviously student have received marks in math, English, maybe some other subject. If I ask you to a user will enter all the marks one by one, and you have to add it and display all the marks at the end. So think this way: suppose a user have to enter five marks. If you wanted to display, that means you have to store those numbers into some variable. If it's a five subject, the simple solution will be you have to create a five variable, store individual numbers into individual variable, and display at very last. Okay. And literally that is going to be very tedious when suppose numbers are suppose 20 subject and there are 200 students. Now you can think about how many variables you are going to create. In those scenarios, list come into the picture, because as you can see, the multiple value you can put into a single variable only. So here the variable name is week only, and you have put multiple values, and that's why list works. Now, uh, so this is how the list defined. The quickly check, like suppose how you have to access a particular item from a list. So if you remember the string section in the class string section where we have learned about slice and dice or indexing feature, remember? So anyone can tell me what is the lowest index number and what will be the highest index number in a string, if anyone remember? So lowest index number always starts from 0. Index always starts from 0 to n minus 1. Remember this. It doesn't matter it's a string or a list or a tuple. It's always index in Python. Indexing always starts from 0. Okay. And it will go n minus 1, where n is the n equal to total item or elements in that particular variable. So let's quickly check. Suppose if I wanted to access the very first day, so that is week and then square bracket 0, that will give me Monday. What about third value, that is Wednesday? So third is actually, so third means third equal to 3 minus 1. Remember the formula. Okay, 3 minus 1, that is 2. Okay. If you remember the slicing, where we can slice it via this, start from let's say 1 and go till suppose 4. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This slicing and dicing is same as a string. Okay, so whatever you have learned in the string section, how you can reverse. Suppose if I wanted to access the very last, so I don't know what is the last element, last index for a element, but I wanted to quickly access. So remember, the reverse indexing always start from -1. Okay, reverse indexing is always start from -1 to n, or we can simply say minus n. Okay, so how it starts? So suppose if I wanted to access the last element, so either I count the indexing, let's count 1 0 1 2 3 4. If I put 4, I'll get a Friday. If I don't want to know what is the actual length, I simply wanted to a last element. So I'll put week -1, which will count from reverse. Okay. The same way, if I make it 2, count to from the second last element. So if I come here, see second last element is Thursday. And dicing is also like slicing is also works this way. So you can put a range, or you can use same all the things whatever we have learned there. So I'm starting from index 1 till the end. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, everything. And suppose I wanted to start from very start, but I wanted to go till third, means till second index. Okay, so the last index is never been counted, remember that. So that is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. If you count the index 0 1 and 2, so it always start from 0 1 and 2. So if it is mentioned 3, that means it will reach till 3. So it's called till 3, but not 3. So 3 is always excluded in that case. Last index, whatever will be mentioned in slicing, will be like excluded. The same, so let's quickly check the nested list one as well. Obviously, whatever the dicing we have seen, that will work here in numbers and random word as well. Let's quickly check nested list. So if I ask very first element, that will be obviously the 0, that will be A. I'm fine with that. But let's say I wanted to access the element number 0 1 0 1 and 2, second index. So that will be 0 1 2. If I print this, it will return me a list, because in reality at second index number 2, there is a list. Now I wanted to pick, suppose, one element from this. So you can do a nested list. So nested list 2, obviously picking this. And now I wanted to pick, suppose, very first element of this string. So what I have to do, again, put a square bracket, put 0. And now you can see there is a only one element. Okay. So this is why list is very much used in Python. Let's quickly and one more thing, how you have to traverse. So traversing is very important, because whenever you are processing data uh, which is residing inside in list, so how you have to traverse is very easy. So it's a simple for loop for item in. Okay, so if you remember our for loop concepts, so we used to do like this, right? 1,6, suppose, and print item. So range, I have told you, range will give you a range which start from 0 till 6. Okay, so this is the one of the function. So if you see here, for item in range, print items 1 2 3 4 5 6. The same way list work here as well in let's say the nested list colon and print item. So if you see, the very first element was A, B, the third element was a list, which is C, D, 12, 3.4, Monday, and 90, right? So for loop works very well with the list. Now, so this is how you have to traverse through a list. Now, quickly check, like suppose there are few list functions. But let me tell you one more thing here is this. Though you can store uh, like different type of data type within the list, but usually what I have seen in my experience, usually we store a one type of element only, because in day-to-day programming language, when you work, usually you store one kind of data type, but it's provide you the facility to store multiple data types. Okay, so you can use it, there is no problem. But usually what I have seen, usually we either store string or either store numbers. Okay, and there are few methods or functions available with the list. So let's quickly start a empty list. Okay, so you can, as I told you, empty list, you can start via either doing this or doing simple list. Okay, both are fine. So let me put like list and emp. Okay, now suppose I wanted to insert a value. Okay, this is an empty list. I wanted to insert a value. So there is a function called append. Okay, so this is a one of the function. Append, as the word itself is saying, append means add, uh, push any number or push any character. Okay, so suppose if I append here 6. Okay, remember this is string 6. Okay, not a 6 number. So always remember that thing in mind. If any value is quoted with a single quote or double quote, that's a string, it's not a number. Okay, so if I now I'm going to suppose print emp, that's 6. Append always works this way. Okay, let's insert some other value. Let's say this time I'm going to insert something like 22.7. This is a number now. Okay, and if I print imp, so there is another element has been added, 22.7. So append will always insert at end of the string. If I'm going to append another one, that will be added after 22.7. So let's do that as well. Okay, so that's it. So this is how the append works. Okay, there is another function. So that is the one method when you have to like push the item into the list, and this is how you have to collect. So just remember the one example I have given you, where you have to get all the numbers for a student, and how you and you have to insert it, you have to save it somewhere, right? And that is the best way. A list is the best way, and let's quickly check how it is possible. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to write a quick snap, okay, of a code, a small chunk, and that will be very clear for you then. So suppose for uh, suppose I in there are going to be suppose 5 subjects, so range 5 will be fine. Okay, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a list, empty list. Okay. Uh, Usually, like that's again, you can create this way, the square bracket way or the list way. But again, what I have seen, this is much easier to, and it is when you write a big code, it is much easily identifiable. So square brackets always work there. So suppose marks equal to brackets, that means I have created a list of mark and that is empty right now. Then I have started a for loop. Now I wanted to print I statement, like what I wanted to do. So the very first question is like a user is going to ask, enter the number, enter the marks, let's say. Okay, so I wanted to write a question for a user where I'll say suppose number equal to input. Okay, so what it will do, it will ask the question, enter the mark. Okay, once that is been entered, so number usually will be either it's an integer or a float, or means or maybe the decimal. So what we are going to do, we are going to store it as a float, let's say. Okay, so I'm going to and remember, whenever user entered anything, it is always treated as a string. Okay, so you have to do the conversion. Okay, so this is called the type conversion, and we are seeing this previously. So type conversion, what it will do, so number, so what I have done here, number equal to float number. Okay, so I have converted number right here. In this line, the number is a string. Okay, number is a string here, but in this line, what I have done, I have converted a string to float. float is means decimal. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, marks dot append number, and that's it. Okay. Now as soon as I have like click it, it's asking the number. So I'm suppose printing 10, 11, suppose 11.9, 23, 24, and that's it, because the range I have set as a 5. Okay, and let's see what is the status of marks now. So if I'm going to print this, all the values are there: 10.0, 11.0, 11.9, 23, and 24. Okay, so list is that is why list is very useful. Now let's see, if I'm going to ask like which subject, or suppose let's say what is the highest number that a student have got. Okay, so there is a function method available in list. If all are numerical value, you can use this max. Okay, so you can see it's very easy. You don't have to do any comparison what is the maximum number that user have that person have received. Okay, it simply calculate that. Okay, the same applies on minimum also. What is the minimum? That is 10. Okay, let me quickly jumbled up little bit, because if you see here everything is in sequential order. So let me quickly do that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so max is 89, minimum is 11. Okay, so this is the one function max. This is the another function like minimum. Suppose I wanted to know what is the CGPA for that student. I wanted to know that uh, average marks of that student. So for average mark calculation, a simple formula is like the total of all the numbers and divided by the number of subjects. So if everything is it's a numerical value, either float or integer, you can use the sum function as well, and that's give you 164. So if anyone asks like what is the average count, average numbers for that students, that 32.8. Okay, so you can see this. Now the another question, why I have used 5? Suppose if I don't know how many numbers are there, so there is a function for that as well, that's called len. Okay, that will return how many elements are there. So this calculation will switch to this. Okay, so the total numbers, that is a sum function that will calculate whatever the elements are there, the float elements, it will add everything up, and then it divided by the total length of that. Okay, and it will simply return like that is the average calculation for that. So you can do a simple math operations. You can one more thing, like let's say uh, suppose this simple calculation, let's quickly go. Let's do, suppose I wanted to deduct two numbers, suppose from each element. So you can do simply marks minus 2. Oh, sorry. Think I'm doing something wrong. One sec. Okay, replicate. Okay, so if you do like multiply by 2, it will replicate the whole list. If you see here, it will start from 23 here, 12 and here, and then again it will repeat the same list again. But remember one thing, it does not affect this list. So this list will be like always like this. So suppose if you wanted to store this output into some you wanted to save this, so you have to do like into 2, and if I'm going to print this, okay, so the all these operations are not in place. Okay, it is always return it. So whenever any calculation is being returned, you have to store in a variable. Okay, so this is the another function which you can so all again one more thing, max min sum, it works basically on the numerical if the items are numerical. Obviously, if suppose there is a string in the within the list, obviously the sum will not work, but len will work. Okay, so suppose I wanted to know, suppose simple say there is a weak list, right? I wanted to know how many elements are there. So it's simple weak. That will give me. But if I'm going to do like suppose sum, that will fail because sum is a function which usually works on the numerical values and whatever it is saying here, like int or and string. So obviously unsupported operand type means it is not supported. The values, the data type of the value is not supported by the sum function, and that's why this error is there. Okay, one more thing. So this is how like so these are few functions. There is another method. So suppose this is a week. Okay, now we have seen the append method. So let me quickly do that once again. So append, uh, let's say set. Okay, if I print week, so that's added. But suppose I wanted to add at a particular location. Okay, I don't want to add at very large. So that you can do by the insert. Okay, but remember, insert will ask you the index number wherever you wanted to insert. Okay, so I wanted to insert at index 0, and index 0 means the very start. Okay, if I'm going to do this and I'm going to print again. So if you see, the very first element now is Sunday. Okay, because I have choose this index. Let's quickly check for the marks as well. Okay, so suppose this is the marks. Okay, I wanted to insert at third index 99 for easy identification. Okay, so at third index means the fourth element. Okay, let's do that, and let me print here. So 0 1 2 3, this is the third index. Okay, and the remaining two values has been shifted. So insert work that way. Okay, now so we have seen two type to insert the data with the list. What if you have multiple values to insert? Okay, that is also possible. So how you have to do, so there is a method called extends. Okay, and in the extend you have to give multiple values. Obviously it will be always a format of a string. So let me put it like suppose 88 77 66. So in this example, what I'm doing, rather than rather than running append 3 times, I'm using extend functions and inserting these 3 values. Again, extend will also add all these elements at the end. So I'm going to print it. One sec. Why this method is not working? I'll check. Maybe I'm making some mistakes. Okay, but this okay. So this plus will also work. Extend is a function. I'm damn sure. But I'll check. Maybe I'm using the wrong way to add it. but this plus sign will work. But remember again, this plus will not modify the string, modify the list. So if you see here, when we use append insert, it is modifying the list itself. Okay, so if I do week dot insert 0 Sunday, it have added this Sunday in the week list. Okay, but this method, the one which I am at 58, line number 58, marks plus 88, 77, 66, this will display, this will return me the value. But if I go and check the value of the marks, that is no change there. Suppose if I wanted to utilize this, I have to store it. Okay, so if I do, like, suppose marks equal to marks plus this, then I have that value. Okay, extend, I'll quickly, I'll check like how extend will work. But this is how, like, you can add multiple values. There are the same way applies on, suppose if you wanted to delete some values from the list. So we'll quickly check. So there is a method called pop. Okay, so let me quickly write it down. So suppose marks dot pop. So pop, what it will do, it will remove so very last element, and it will print that as well. Okay, if I'm going to do marks, so if you see, the 66 is gone from there, right? So here marks have the 66. When I do the pop, it will simply remove that last element, and the modified values is available.
So in this case, you don't have to do like marks equal to marks dot pop something.
No. So okay. So here, what's happening? If the method is like with the dot operator. So if you see marks dot insert, right? Marks dot pop is 66. That is going to modify the string. Okay, this is not going to modify the string. So there are two, so this you have to actually understand, or maybe once you like do the practice, once you work with the Python, you will automatically know or remember in simple says. In Python, there are few functions which will change the value of a particular variable by itself. So maybe let's say think about the list. If I use insert. Okay, so okay, let's quickly see this. Suppose less equal to 1. Okay, suppose this is a list. Now I wanted to add one element here. So what I did, suppose 99. What it will do, it is returning me. Okay, it is returning me the value list plus 99, but it doesn't modify the particular value. To modify particular value, I have to either store it into list this way, the one which I have shown you, or use the another method. What is the another method? The append method, because append method is going to modify the list. Okay, so if I see now here list, it's 199. Again, you no need to worry about which is going to change the data type, which is not going to. As soon as like you will progress, as soon as you like start learning things, obviously you will know. Means it's a kind of you remember okay, like what is going to change a particular thing. Like suppose if I talk about pop. Okay, so if you see the pop method, pop is always pick the very last element, remove that element, as well as it will display that element. So it is doing this pop method is doing two things. What it is doing, so let's quickly come here. What it is doing, so when I'm using marks.pop, it is doing two things. What it is modify the list, obviously by removing the last element, and return the last element as well. So it is doing both things. So that's why you see 77 as output. If you see the append method, so let me do that. Let's say 111. append doesn't return me anything. Okay, that means it modified the value. It's at that place only. So if I'm going to print it, it doesn't return me anything. Here append doesn't return me anything. If you see here, insert doesn't return me anything. But if I see this plus logic, it returns me. Okay, so if you, this method, where is it? This, it returns me. Okay, so whenever a return happen, so you can modify the value by like using that equal sign, equal logic, this logic. So what I have done here, marks plus uh, 88, 77, 66, this expression is returning me the list plus these three values, but it is not modifying this marks at itself. So what I have done, calculate this and then assign the output value of this to marks itself. And that is actually modifying the total marks. Okay. So it is something like this. So if I, okay, so let's quickly check another example to understand this scenario. Okay, so let's say count equal to 0. Okay, and now I know, you know that you can count via the simple method. So suppose if I simply say like len of marks, it's already 8. That's okay, but I'm going to crude it little bit. How, what I'm going to do is like suppose count 0 for item in marks. Okay, count. Can you tell me the expressions? Like I wanted to check for each item and then I wanted to increment one by one. Like suppose this is a 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know len function is there. It's a very simple task, but I wanted to crude it. So how I have to do? Count plus 1. Now understand how this works. Okay, here I'm going to print count. That is 8. How it is going to work? So count starts from 0. Okay, and let me quickly pick this, put it here. Okay, when the for loop starts, it's pick one element at a time. So very first element it picked here. Okay, obviously I'm not doing anything with the element, forget about it, but I'm calculating this information. So what I am doing, count equal to count plus 1. So count, the current value is 0. In Python, the expression always resolve first right hand side, then it is the whatever the right hand side output, it will assign to left hand side. So the very first time it was 0 plus 1. Okay, and then it becomes 1, which is assigned to value 1. The count after first iteration, first loop, the count of count value is 1. In the second loop, when Python have picked the second element, which is 11, the count value was 1. I am adding 1 again as per the here. Okay, and the value is assigned to 2. Okay, so this is the expression calculation, and this is what actually we are doing here in the plus operators here. So what we are doing, we are calculating right hand side and then assigning to the left hand side, and that's why the value has been modified. So this is a crude way to do that. Okay, so you can simply get the count via simply len function, but this is a one another way. Okay, again, if you see, I'm not utilizing at all this item function, so so there is no worry. But the for loop as works, it will go, it will iterate through all the values. So it will first pick 23, then 11, then 29, then double line, and so on, and then it will calculate the count of that. Okay, so list, okay, so the list, okay, so pop, obviously, as you've seen, pop is like removing from last. There is another method, let me quickly check. Okay, you can remove the element by index as well. So pop index 2. Okay, so index 2, calculate, check the index. What is the index 2? 0, 1, 2. Index 2 value was 29. 29 has been removed, that has been returned here. And if I check now marks, 29 is gone from list. Okay, so pop, suppose if you do not give anything in pop, it will remove the very last element. If you give a particular index in pop, it will remove that particular index value. Okay, so this is how you have to remove an element uh, from from a list. So okay, so now there is another thing. It's if you remember the split function from string section. So suppose there is a string line equal to, suppose this is a line. Okay, this is a string. I wanted to know, suppose how many words it has. So the very word, remember word, I'm not talking about the character. If I'm going to do len of line, it will return me the number of characters it is having. Okay, so it returns me number of characters, that is 36. But I wanted to know how many words are there. So the basic logic is, if I can split this line into words, and that's very easy to do. Dot split function, that is a string function, if you remember. So if I do this line dot split, so this returns me a array, or a list of all the words. So if you see, this is me who are sharing a screen. Okay, so it returns me a list of our word, and now it's very easy to count. So I can use len function again. Let me copy this function, paste it here, and it returns me there are 8 words in this. Okay, so if you see, list and string are quite same, with little bit of differences. String, particular element you cannot change, where list you can change. Okay, so let's quickly check that what I mean by that. Suppose a teacher have filled marks for, suppose a student, but remember then he remember, like, okay, I have put a wrong number, wrong marks for, suppose, the second subject. I have to update it. That is very easy doable. So the second element index is 1. Okay, and I can assign any value to this. Okay, so let's say 55, and if I check, the value of the second index is changed 55. With line, with a string method, that is not possible for sure. Okay, so this is the difference. List, you can create a list, you can modify the list, you can do mathematical operations, max, min, sum, if it's a numeric. You can loop, you can run a loop on all the items. Okay, and based on that you can do some calculations, and that is why list is used. And if you see, for a single student, you have to maintain only one variable. Okay, and it doesn't matter. So in list, you can insert plenty of element. There is no restrictions how many elements you are storing. It's 1000, 2000, or 10,000, doesn't matter. The reason, I'll quickly show you how you can do that quickly. Suppose range, if you remember, in last few sessions we have learned a function range 8. As of now, if you see, it's simply return of name range 08, but I wanted to see what value it is holding. So if I do list, I'm converting this function to list type. Okay, so now it's returned me 0, 1, 2, 7. And if I suppose 80, you can see 0 to 0 to 17, 79, that is total 80 elements. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here, list doesn't have a limit. Okay, so you can insert n number of data and put it into a single variable. You can loop, you can select this indexing method. Where is it? Via the index, you can select uh, You can insert new values, you can remove values, and you can do calculations on list. Okay, so I have put uh, a detailed notebook which will like explain if go through with it. If you face any problem, if you do not understand anything, let me know. I'm happy to like help you to understand that. Okay, so here I have mentioned like slicing operations plus duplicate with the star methods are like, if you see the append is there, extend, why it is not working here. Weird. Yeah. So, okay, so this is the way you have to extend it. Okay, so if you see A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, okay, it has been extended. And if you see the extend method, it does not return me anything. Okay, if it is doesn't return me anything, that means it's modified the particular value. And that's why if you see the weak value, it is A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. And remember this A, B, C, D is coming from it. Okay, that's why you see a duplication. So extend works. Okay, so extend method works. The same we can achieve with the plus sign as well, but in that case you have to reassign that to one. Insert, we already seen insert, you can insert at a particular index, or so you have to pass an index. So with the insert, very first value will be an index where you wanted to insert, and the second is the actually the value. Okay, modification we have seen, oh, sorry, modification we have seen a particular, suppose if I say week, last element, suppose -1, remember that. Okay, I wanted to put 7, and if I print week, so if you see XYZ, ZYX actually changed to 7. So list, you can select a value, you can get a value, you can change a value, you can add a value, you can delete a value. Okay, so this, in simple terms, this is a collection of values on which you can play around. Now coming to the tuple, so I'll upload these, go through with these. I have put a methods there, how you have to work with them. If you any snippet, if you don't able to understand, let me know. I'm happy to help. Let me quickly go through one of the example, whatever I have seen there. Okay, suppose this is a week, and I wanted to print it. Okay, so one way is like W. So if you see sun, month, two, at all that, blah blah blah. I wanted to print a good way, a pretty way, suppose. So what I'll do, I'll put our average string logic. Okay, so like now week, sun, month, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and ABCD, and 7. Okay, now there is a one function which is, and suppose if I wanted to print like a number, a index as well, a particular index for that element. How you can do that? You can do multiple ways. One way is this. So we have seen week, obviously this, and we have seen this as well. You can choose a particular value by indexing it, like 0, 1, and that will return you that particular value. So what you can do is you can utilize a range function. And again, how the range works, range, you have to pass a number, like the longer the number, the bigger the number, the longer the range. So if I put like range 9, that means it will return me 0 to 8, right? Numbers 0 to 8. But I wanted to use the range, whatever the length of my this list. Okay, So length of a string, length of list, how we can calculate? Len of week. So what it does, it calculate first the len of week have calculated first how many, what is the length. So 0, 1, 2, sorry, starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 elements. Oh, obviously, and when I did range, it have created me a range. Okay, so how I can pretty print it for, sorry, for I in, okay, I'm going to utilize this. Now print s. Now week, I, day, and here what I'm going to do, week and I. So what happened and how this function? Let's see. Here with this method have calculated a range. Okay, and range always start from 0 to a particular number. Okay, and our list is also start from index 0. Okay, so how here it works, so first 0 to 10 means 0 to 9 actually. Okay, so 0 range, if 0 to 10, that means the value will be 0 to 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now what I have did in the print statement, week I, the value, whatever the value of I, day, and then a particular index of that uh, list. Okay, so if I do, so suppose at the very start, the value of I is 0. So this will return me week 0. So week 0 value is Sunday. Okay, then week 1 value is Monday, week 2 value is Tuesday. Okay, so it start from week 0 day, and logically, if you, so that works fine. But if you go in human world, actually there is no 0 day, right? There is always a day, always start from first. Your list is starting from 0. So what we are going to do, I'm going to do a simple +1 here. Now what, how it will print, it will add 1 with or in the I value. So I value start from 0. So 0 plus 1 is 1, 2, 3, and so on. Now it's pretty clear. Okay, the week first day is Sunday, week second day is Monday, and so on. Okay, so this is how the for loop works. You can tweak few things here and there, and you can achieve, you can pretty print the things. So okay, so this is list. So I have put a detailed example here. Please go through with it. If you so list number 3, where I have put advanced, I'm sure you are not going to understand it at a starting level. Suppose the advanced, wherever you see the advanced, if you don't understand, no worries. We can come back on these parts and we can see later, not now, because these are pretty advanced stuff. So so list 1 and 2, you can go. There are two methods I have mentioned how you have to do. Okay, so there is a count I have missed. So you can count a particular element as well. So suppose this is a random string, sorry, random list which have multiple values, and I wanted to know a count of a particular value. So I wanted to see, so here I wanted to see the count of number 2, which is 3. So if you see, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. Count of 11, 11 is not there, this will return me 0. Okay, existence check is again with in or not in. So Wednesday in week, obviously that true. January in week is false. Okay, so okay, and there is a one more, the sort method, that is a random. So this is a sort method. How sort method work, let's quickly check here. uh, Marks. Okay, so marks, if you see here, it's arbitrary, means few numbers, it's, there is no order. I wanted to order it. So the simple things, marks dot sort. Okay, remember this doesn't return me anything. That means it did the in place sorting, means it modified the values at that place. So if you see, it start from 12, 23 and went to 9999. You can do the reverse sort as well. How you have to do is like there is a one more element has been passed, reverse equal to true. Okay, now it have reversed it. Okay, so now it started from 99 and so on. Okay, so the same way, suppose there is a ask like, okay, you are printing the marks for suppose Peter, but I want them in a proper order. I wanted them in increasing order. So the a lower number should be printed first, then higher, and then the highest. So you can sort the list in that scenario. Okay, but remember one thing, if you sort the list, it will sort at the same place. Okay, so it sort the same place. So if you see that here the marks have arbitrary order, means few numbers are bigger, few numbers are lesser, there is no proper order. When I did a sort, it changed the value here. So suppose if when you are coding, if you have to make that kind of change in place, obviously you are feel free to sort. But suppose if you are not, then there is another method available called sorted. Okay, this method, how this method works, let's quickly check. This equal to, let's say suppose 3 2 1 and 5 6 and 9. Okay, less. Okay, this is again if I do sorted list, it returns me a sorted list. If you see 1 2 3 5 6 9, but it returns me, that means it didn't modify the original string, right? Original string is intact. So whenever you code, whenever you are using a method of or a function, always remember whatever the functions you are going to use, whether that function is going to change the in place value or not. uh, uh, and based on that you have to take the appropriate actions. Okay, follow the appropriate functions, or look out for some other way. Suppose if you are using a sorting method, so what you wanted to do, and you wanted to know the original order, so what you can do, you can replicate, you can create a duplicate copy of this list that will behave like a original list, and use the sort on the like copied list. So you will have a duplicate list. One will be the original, which have the all the element as they has been inserted, and the second will be assorted. Okay, when you program, you will learn all these things, so don't worry about it, how I have to think. You will slowly learn, pick all these things. So okay, so this is the list. Yeah, okay, and now quickly I'm coming to a tuple. It will take hardly 5 minutes, so just bear with me. So tuple is same as list. Okay, the only difference is, so tuple, how tuple will be created. Suppose TP tuple is always created with is round brackets. Remember, it's not a square bracket. Okay, it's a round brackets. So this is the empty tuple. Okay, if I check the type of TP, it's a tuple. Okay, tuple is created by a round bracket. There is only one basic difference between list and tuple. As you have seen here, in the list you can change a particular index value, right? So suppose this is a list. Okay, this is a list, and if I wanted to change suppose third element, so let me put like third element to 99, and let me print again list. So that's possible with the list, but that is not possible with the tuple. So let's see why. So tuple, you can create either the curly braces or the tuple function. Okay, and in this I have passed the same list. Okay, so now the tuple is 3 2 and remember, see the format here. When I printing the list, it have the square brackets. when I'm printing the tuple, it have the curly braces. Okay. The same way the indexing works. So tuple 0, all okay, 3, that's fine, the very first element. Now I wanted to change, suppose the second element, or actually the third, let me put second element. So TP1 is 2. Okay, I wanted to change, suppose 88 or 88, and that is not possible. Okay. Else all other functions are same. Max will work, min will work, sum will work. So all other functions are same. The only difference is you cannot modify a value when it is being inserted. So let's see a scenario. The same example, the student example. You don't want to give a permission to modify the marks once it is being inserted. So suppose if you have inserted into a list, some hacker can come and modify your list such a way like you can modify the value once it is been inserted. Okay. But if you use tuple, that is not possible. Once inserted means it's done. You cannot modify a value which is residing inside a tuple. Okay. So that is the basic difference between list and tuple. Else everything is same. So whenever we wanted to create a data type, a variable type, where we wanted to insert a value, once the value has been inserted, nobody can change that variable. Then we use tuple. But whenever we have to do a lot of modifications with the elements or item, then we use list. And this is the basic difference between tuple and list. So I have put a tuple as well. What you can do, you cannot do. So this is the basic. So understand these terms as well. Immutable. Immutable means can't be changed. Where list can be changed. List called mutable. List called mutable. Element can be changed. Tuple immutable. So in Python, you will hear these two terms very frequently: mutable data type or immutable data type. Immutable means the value cannot be changed once it is set. Mutable means you can change it. Okay, so I have put the tuple as well. Yeah, every other thing is same as list. So yeah, so this is list and tuple. I'll put I think one or two small program, try to do it, and we'll in next class we will see dictionary and set. Once we will go through the dictionary and set, we are set to do the actual programming. So I know you guys were thinking like we are keep going through the data types, different type of data storage, how you have to store the data. But after the Thursday class, we will see the actual programming, how we can design things around with the Python. Because now you know how to store the information, how you have to process the information. There are few methods which will help you. Now we have to put together a logic to create some program. Okay, yeah, so that is all.